YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Guys, today we're going to talk about Major League Fishing's announcement about moving forward in 2025. You know, this is a long-term announcement, and quite honestly, I am absolutely floored by a few of their decisions. But hey, real fast though, if you have not subscribed on the YouTube channel, make sure y'all do that. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Just hit that subscribe button and click those notifications on so you get notified every single time I drop a video. But guys, this is really big news. I mean, some of y'all might look at this and be like, oh, it's whatever. But this is huge. You're talking Major League Fishing for 2025 is going to drop to 50 anglers. Right now, they're sitting at around 80, 81, something around that range, with the 10 coming out and the 10 coming in. You know, it's one thing to kick 10 to the curb. You finish in the top 10 or the bottom 10 in points. You've had a bad couple years. It's time to get some new faces and let the newer guys come in, and which I've always felt like is a really important aspect of whatever Major League Fishing does. The Bassmaster Elite Series kicks some to the curb, invites new ones in. I think it's good to allow these younger anglers to have that chance to live out their dream, whether it be for a year or 20 years or 50 years. So what Bass Pro Tour did is they said, you know what, we're cutting it down to 50. You know, I remember when Bass did that, they went to the E50s. And in this situation, this is an all-star roster comprised of the top 35 pros from the 2024 Bass Pro Tour Lifetime Angler of the Year standings, the top 10 from 2024 Bass Pro Tour single year standings that did not qualify via the top 35 Angler of the Year standings, and the top 5 anglers from the 2024 Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. So what that means is basically 45 guys from the Bass Pro Tour right now will requalify for the 2025 season. So what does that mean for the 2024 or 2023 Tackle Warehouse Invitational top 10 Angler of the Year guys? Basically, they have to finish in the top 10 in Angler of the Year on their very first year of the Bass Pro Tour if they want to qualify for the 2025 Bass Pro Tour. So they don't even get 2 years in there. They get 1 year. They get a 1 year test to hopefully make it back in, which is super hard. I mean, you're talking about these guys are going to have to really go out there and catch them. And nobody really knows. You know, it says the top 35 in Lifetime Angler of the Year standings. I don't know how that's weighted. You know, if somebody finishes in the top 10 Angler of the Year, does that mean that they're going to qualify over somebody that's averaged a 25th place every year? You know, I don't know how they're going to determine what your Lifetime Angler of the Year is. I'm assuming they have some kind of mathematical equation to, actually stack people in, because they have to take into account every aspect of what's going on. But it's not even necessarily just about who qualifies, but it's more about who's not going to qualify. And that is a huge, huge thing. As it sits right now, and now granted, this list right here includes the people who have been kicked out already, and it doesn't include the people who will be rookies going into the 2024 season. You know, they get one season, all right? They get one season to try to make it up, try to get the best points they can. This is going to be the biggest cutthroat year that you've ever seen on the Bass Pro Tour. You're going to see guys working 5 times harder, and you're going to really see a lot of talent come out in the 2024 season. These guys are going to be doing everything in their power to try to catch fish. Right now, as it sits, in 36th place. So I'm going to go from 36 down, because you can never justify who's going to finish in the top 10 points. It literally could be anybody, any given year. And with all the pressure that's going to be put on this particular year, I actually think you're going to see some things fluctuate, because they're not going to have that security blanket of, oh, I'll just requalify for next year. It won't be a big deal. Guys, this is a really, really big deal to these guys. I can't imagine. So before I get into 36 and down, whenever all this stuff went down, when all the merger, not the merger, but the separation happened, that you had a ton of elite guys leave, you had some FLW Tour guys leave, and everybody left and went and formed the Bass Pro Tour. I can't remember the exact year. It was like between 2017, 2018. I think it's 2018 is one of the first year that they did it. And because I fished the FLW Tour in 2019, and they had more guys come in now. Yeah, that's right. So 2018, all these guys are sold this, hey, no entry fees, you are going to be there, we're going to be fishing, we're going to be making a lot of money, we're going to be doing all these things. You got Elite Series guys buying into it. They're like, heck yeah, let's go. And now for 2025, hey, thank y'all for coming, thank you for investing all that time and leaving the Elite Series, which, let's just add, is almost next to impossible to qualify for. Thank you for coming, but hey, you're out, and we're just going to take 50 of these guys now. So any of you guys that came over with us that aren't in that top 50, we're sorry. You can go fish the Invitationals, which is just the glorified FLW Tour of late. You can go fish that with no championship and lose probably half of your sponsor dollars because you're no longer on the Bass Pro Tour. But let's look past that. Let's look at the fact of what names are we looking at on this list. So 36th place happens to be a good friend of mine. That's Cody Meyer. And that's just this year's Angler of the Year. He could have had 3 other years, and I'm not going to go back and be a mathematician and a statistician. Is it a statistician? I don't know. The person who collects stats, like Matt Pangrak. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to go on every year of what they've done Angler of the Year. I'm just going to go off last year's. So as it sits on last year's, Cody Myers in 36th place, Greg Vinson, Mark Daniels Jr., Andy Montgomery, Nick LeBrun. Which I might add, Nick LeBrun won like 2 tournaments in the last 2 years. Andy Montgomery, longtime Elite Series angler. Mark Daniels Jr., Elite Series angler that came over. Greg Vinson. I mean, guys, that is a list right there. That's just 6 out right there. You got Marty Robinson, Terry Scroggins, Scott Suggs, Casey Ashley, Jacob Wall, Britt Myers, Zach Burge, Mark Davis, and Brett Height rounding out the top 50. I would say, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those anglers came from the Elite Series. Marty Robinson, Scroggins, Casey Ashley, Britt Myers, Mark Davis, Brett Height. Actually 6, I think. My math was wrong. And then it still gets, I mean, guys, you're talking big name anglers. Dean Rojas, the record holder for the 5 biggest fish ever caught in tournament history. Randall Tharp, Russ Lane, Brent Chapman, Fletcher Shyrock, James Watson, Skeet Reese, Classic winner, Randy Howe, Luke Clausen, John Murray, Fred Rumbanis, Cliff Crochet, Shin Fu Kai, Wesley Strader, Kelly Jordan. Guys, the names go on and on and on. These are all guys that you potentially will not see in the 2025 Bass Pro Tour. That is baffling to me. And so when all this thing came out, I got a bunch of messages, and they were all about, hey, man, like, I can't believe this. Is the Opens just going to be the most stacked field in 2024? And the answer is no. Will we still have some additional guys that come in? Sure. 2024... you actually have a Bass Pro Tour, the very first Bass Pro Tour event of the year on Toledo Bend, which is the first week of February, is actually right on top of the very first Bass Open of the year on Lake Okeechobee. So there's no way, unless they just quit the Bass Pro Tour and went and fished the Opens, that they would be in the Bassmaster Open. So that's not going to happen. Okay, they don't even get 2 or 3 tournaments to try it out first to see if they can do it. They're just out from the beginning. So the 2024 Bass Pro Tour guys, if they fish all of them, are going to be super focused. I don't even know. You're going to have a handful that know their average is just not there, and they're going to go fish the Invitationals too just to try to get back in. But you're going to see some really big-name guys out in 2025. Will that mean they're going to be out completely? Are they going to leave Major League Fishing? I don't know. I think you're going to see some, though. Absolutely. You're going to see some guys that say, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this drama no more. You know, these guys are paying entry fees now. Yes, they have adjusted the payout, and they talk about it in the strategic plan that they released. They added more money to first place. They're paying throughout the field. They made their championship the Red Crest 300,000. So they've adjusted some payouts around across the board there. But these guys are going to have some big decisions to make. Are they going to go fish the Opens in 2025 and just move a completely different direction? Are they going to take a step back in the Invitationals and try to qualify that way? Or are they just going to retire? I think you're actually going to see a handful of guys retire from that list that have been in it for a long time, have no reason to try to start over for next year or for 2025, and they just say, you know what, I've had a really good career and I'm just done. And they're frustrated. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in that situation, if I had gotten invited, and I didn't, I'm not good enough to have been invited, but if I had been invited and said, hey, you know what, the grass is so much greener over here, it's going to be so fantastic, we're doing life-changing things, we're doing this world-changing stuff, and we're doing it, and let's say, for instance, I sell out, and I say, and I'm not calling them sellouts, but I say, you know what, this is the best decision for my family. I don't have to pay $50,000 entry fees. I can go over there and fish for free. I mean, the original plan was amazing. The fact that there were guys that said no is pretty remarkable because what they were selling was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was really, really good. And it was really hard for these guys. I mean, I have a wife and a son, and when you're talking about $50,000 a year, just in entry fees, that's not your expenses or anything like that, just in entry fees, and say, hey, you know what? We don't have to pay that anymore. We get to go there, fish for free, so everything we make, minus expenses and things, is ours. Sounds really great. Like, super great, actually. So, for them to go over there, fish there for a handful of years, and yeah, it's been 6 or 8 years, or 5 years, whatever it's been. 6 years, 5 years for a couple of them, a couple years for a couple of the guys that have qualified through other things. But to say, you know what, thank you for showing up, but you're out, you're done. That would be a really hard pill to swallow. I'm not gonna lie, it's so hard to qualify, especially these days, whether it be for the Bassmaster Elite Series, the Bass Pro Tour, stuff like that. I mean, because you got to go through a qualifying process. And honestly, I dare to say, the Bass Pro Tour might be even more difficult, and only because they take less spots. This year they took 10, but next year they're only taking 5. They're taking 5 next year out of 170 guys, 180. That's really tough. In the Bassmaster Opens, we take 9, and you're talking 225 anglers. It's pretty hard too. And, I mean, it's comprised of just as good anglers that are trying to make it. So, yeah, I mean, not only did they change that, but they went away from the 5 fish. The way they changed it into going to this year, they changed it to where your 5 largest fish that you weighed in throughout the course of the day was the weight that you had, like a traditional tournament, but they still did it weigh release on the boat. Well, now they're going back to every fish counts. This is for 2024, so you're going to see even more of a change up because 2022, so 2 years ago, they were every fish counts, all right? So 2023, they went to 5 fish, only your 5 largest fish count per day. Well, now they're reverting back to every fish count. So you're going to see a difference on guys that are just able to go out there and catch a lot of fish, being able to qualify, whereas these other guys that are so accustomed to catching 5 of the biggest fish, it's really going to hurt them. They listened to the viewer. They changed it to 5 fish. Now they went back because their growth was stagnant. Their numbers weren't where they wanted them to be. And I get it. I mean, I honestly think you've seen a big change in, the live broadcasting of TV and stuff like that. So you're seeing these leagues, these different organizations change up the way they are doing things because the viewership is at a just kind of a, it's not growing, it's not going down, but it's just kind of staying status quo. Whereas if you want to get more money from sponsors and things like that, you want to see growth. Nobody has the right answer right now on how to help that grow. I personally believe that the live coverage is hurting things more than it's helping things. And that's just my personal belief. You know, we all recount the days of watching Bassmaster on TV or even FLW on TV when it was a 1 hour show and they took the highlights from everything, and everybody comments and they're like, oh man, I miss the Bassmaster days when the TV show was around. We need more coverage. We want to see more and more and more. Well, when anglers get to see more and more and more, they get to see the boring times. And I hate to say it, guys, but bass fishing is not that exciting. The highlights are great. Everybody can enjoy the highlights, but the rest of it is so terribly boring. I mean, when you're out there on a boat all day long, now if you're on a school of fish and you're catching them every cast, everybody's excited about that. But if I am out there and I'm hustling and I'm flipping and I get 10 bites a day and you're watching me for 8 hours and throughout that 8 hour time frame, you see me set the hook 10 times, that's a long day for watching on a TV or something like that. So getting the right clips, having people that are able to communicate and talk is hard. It's just hard. The more hours in the day that you have live, the harder it is to keep the audience attention. You know, in a 1 hour show, it's really easy to keep audience attention. Heck, I can tell you right now, based off my analytics, that only about 50% of the people watching that started this video are still watching right now. And this is only going to be like a 12 to 15 minute video. And half of you have already turned it off because you've already seen what you wanted to see and you've moved on. But that is the exact same thing that these fishing companies, you know, like these organizations like MLF and Bass are having to deal with, because they're having to make a change, making change. You know, I honestly believe that the formation of the Bass Pro Tour is the worst thing that the industry could have ever had happen. Truly. And I will tell you why. Major League Fishing, the original Major League Fishing, where they had the TV show, it was like 25 guys or 28 guys, whatever it was. I don't even remember the exact number. That was fun to watch. That was actually so much fun to watch because it only followed like 6 guys throughout like a period or 2 periods or 3 periods, however they did it. And that was fun to watch. And then they tried to make it into this huge thing, and it just wasn't made for that. Could they have just kept everybody at the Bassmaster Elite Series, kept everybody at the FLW Tour, and had that little third deal that was just a TV-only thing? Sure, and it would have been super successful, but we got greedy and we tried to make it bigger than what it was. Will this cut into 50 change things, make it better? Sure. It's going to make it better for TV because it's going to basically revert it back to original Major League Fishing. I mean, it's basically what they've done. They just made it just a little bit bigger, but not as big as it was. So for 2025, welcome back to Major League Fishing the way it was, not the way it is now at Bass Pro Tour. The Bass Pro Tour is basically done after 2024. I'm just telling you, you can call it whatever you want to, but that's just Major League Fishing. The original Major League Fishing is basically what they have made or remade for the 2025 season. And there's going to be a lot of anglers that are really upset, that are going to have to make a lot of really hard decisions for their family and for their careers. So I don't envy that decision. I hate it for the anglers because a lot of them are really good friends of mine. It sucks, guys. The fishing industry is in a really weird place right now. We're going to talk a little bit more about the fishing industry in my next video, but I don't want to drag this one out much further. But I wanted to talk about that. A lot of big changes. We're going to see a lot of big things change over the next 2 years. I don't even have any expectation of what to see because I think it's going to go all over the place. If it's like anything it was in 2018, 2019, it's going to be like close your eyes and throw a dart against the board, and that's probably what's going to happen. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching my video. I hope y'all made it to the end. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. Thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you on the next one.